There are two kinds of people in the world. One who work by watching the clock, and the other whom time itself seems to watch and slow down. In a major industrial city of the United States stood Mr. Sterling's old and famous textile mill. It wasn't just a factory, it was an empire. But today, the walls of that empire were silent. The factory's largest and most expensive machine, the backbone of the entire production line, had suddenly come to a halt. Mr. Sterling paced anxiously inside his office. Outside, hundreds of workers sat waiting. Every passing hour was draining thousands of dollars from Sterling's bank account. He called in the biggest engineers in the city. Experts like Robert James and David spent hours opening the machine's parts, oiling them, and trying every possible solution. But the machine refused to move even an inch. By evening, Mr. Sterling's hope began to fade. Just then, one of his old managers suggested a name, Mr. Arthur. People said Arthur didn't just look at machine parts, he listened to the heartbeat of machines. When Sterling called Arthur, Arthur said only one thing: "I will come, but my fee will be very different from your ordinary engineers." Sterling had no choice. He replied, "Arthur, just get this machine running. Whatever you ask for, I'll give it to you." The next morning, carrying an old leather bag, Arthur appeared at the factory gate. His face was calm, as if he already knew why he was there. The entire staff watched him in disbelief. Could this one man accomplish what a whole team could not? As soon as Arthur stepped into the factory, he took out no tools. Where the other engineers had been making noise, drenched in sweat, attacking the machine with wrenches, Arthur stood completely silent. Mr. Sterling watched him impatiently. "Arthur, time is running out. Why aren't you starting?" he asked irritably. Arthur gave no reply. He simply began to walk slowly around the machine. His eyes examined every joint, every belt, and every gear. Sometimes he bent down to listen to the machine's sound. Other times, he placed his hand on it to feel its vibration. Engineers like James and David, standing nearby, began whispering to each other. "This old man is just wasting time. He doesn't even understand where the problem is." But Arthur was in a different world altogether. He wasn't looking at the machine as a lifeless piece of iron, but as a living being. For nearly 15 minutes he remained silent. A deep stillness filled the entire hall. Everyone felt that perhaps Arthur too would give up. Suddenly, Arthur stopped. A faint smile appeared on his face. He reached into his old leather bag and took out a small hammer. He moved toward a specific part of the machine where hundreds of tiny components were connected together. He paused there for a second, took a deep breath, and gently struck a very specific spot with the hammer. Tick! Just one sound. And then a miracle happened. Arthur looked at Mr. Sterling and gestured, "Now turn the switch on." As Sterling pressed the button with trembling hands, the magnificent machine roared back to life. The wheels began to spin, the belts started racing, and within minutes, the production line was running again. Everyone present was left stunned. What could not be done in hours, Arthur had accomplished in just 1 minute. Mr. Sterling was overwhelmed with joy. Excitedly, he said, "Outstanding! Incredible work, Arthur. Send me your fee invoice. I'll have it paid immediately." Arthur nodded, placed his hammer back into his bag, and quietly walked out. He knew the real storm was yet to come. The next day, Mr. Sterling was sitting in his office, sipping coffee and feeling satisfied that the machine was running again. Just then, his secretary walked in holding an envelope. It was the bill sent by Arthur. As soon as Mr. Sterling opened the envelope, his eyes widened in shock. Placing the coffee mug on the desk, he shouted, What? $10,000? The bill clearly stated, total amount $10,000. Sterling's anger shot through the roof. He immediately called Arthur. Arthur, what kind of joke is this? You spent only 15 minutes in the factory, installed no new parts, did no real labor. You just hit the machine once with a small hammer, and now you're asking me for $10,000? Arthur's voice on the other end of the phone was completely calm. Mr. Sterling, this is the price of my expertise. What? Expertise? Sterling laughed sarcastically. Hitting something with a hammer cannot cost $10,000. I won't pay until you send me a detailed breakdown of this bill. I want to know how you calculated every minute. Arthur replied calmly, All right, you'll receive the details shortly. A few minutes later, an email arrived on Mr. Sterling's computer. The bill details were written like this. Striking the machine with a hammer, $1. Knowing where to strike the hammer, $9,999. Total, $10,000. After reading the email, Mr. Sterling leaned back in his chair. His anger suddenly turned into silence. He realized that he wasn't paying for Arthur's 15 minutes. He was paying for the experience Arthur had gained over 30 years of understanding machinery. If Arthur hadn't been there, that million-dollar machine might have remained shut down for months, costing Sterling millions more in losses. Arthur had sold him something no other engineer could: time. Mr. Sterling took a deep breath and immediately pulled out his checkbook, writing a check for $10,000 in Arthur's name. He had finally understood that price is what you pay, but value is what you receive in return. Arthur's single hammer strike was not just a physical action. It was the result of years of failures, hundreds of books, and thousands of experiences. People like Arthur do not sell their time, they sell their expertise. In today's fast-paced world, we often make this mistake. We assume that if a task is done quickly, it should be cheap. But the reality is the opposite. If an expert completes in 10 minutes what others take 10 hours to do, you are not paying for those 10 minutes. You are paying for the 9 hours and 50 minutes that were saved. Whether you are a freelancer, a businessman, or an employee in a company, remember this. As long as you keep yourself ordinary, people will judge your worth by your time. But the day you become the only solution to a specific problem, people will no longer pay for your time. They will pay for your results. Mr. Sterling's factory was running again, but this time, Sterling's mindset had changed. He had learned that cheap solutions often turn out to be expensive, and paying the right price for expertise is actually an investment. So the next time you argue with an expert over their fee, remember, you are not paying just for a hammer strike. You are paying for the knowledge of where to strike, where a single blow brings a stalled machine of life back into motion. Recognize your own value, so the world can recognize it too. Friends, to hear more business and money mindset stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that every new video reaches you first. And don't forget to press the bell icon. Let us know in the comments how you liked the video. We'll meet again in a new video. Thank you for now.